Welcome to my first Pokemon Go episode. I'm so excited to get this started. I did want to be outside when I started this, but if you take a look at the weather, you'll understand why. Obviously, I'm based in the UK, so it's not the easiest. At the minute, the last week, we've had nothing but rain. It's flooded. So instead, I've decided to do a sit-down video and explain, because I've just come back into the game, how you guys can get back into it. The best strategies, the best things to do each day. It can literally be anything. We're going to go through everything you need to know to get back into Pokemon Go in 2019. Even though I couldn't take my camera out to record, I do want to show this before we get into things. I just went out and did a raid. It was absolutely pouring down. My hair's still actually wet, but I did get this. I'm just going to show a screen recording. A Cresselia shiny on my first ever raid of Cresselia, which is just insane. I'm so happy about that. But that's not why you're here. I mean, you're not here to see shiny Cresselia. I mean, I can't understand why, but let's take a look at how to get into Pokemon Go in 2019. So much has changed since you last played this game. If you played back in 2016, I mean, it's almost a completely different game. There's so many additions. The first thing I would suggest is finding a Discord or a WhatsApp group or whatever the people in your town use. Join that and make friends. Add people in-game. What this will do is it will let you build up a relationship which can make you and your friends stronger when you raid. You can send each other gifts. You can trade Pokemon. And if you've been out, you're probably missing a lot of your favourite Pokemon. So you can get friends to trade with them. You can build up Stardust and trade shinies and legendaries. It really helps you get back into the game. So that would be my first step if I had to pick something. Now, if you already play the game, this may be slightly basic for you, but I'm going to explain everything I mean as I go. So when I say you can gift friends, when you walk around and spin Pokestops, you can sometimes receive a gift. You can then go into your friends list and send somebody that gift. They in turn can send you one. So you can build up your resources, you can build up your Pokeballs, you can build up revives, potions. You can even get eggs of the new Alolan form Pokemon. So if there's something you want, you're going to want to make friends in the game. And it's always good to have people. So if you need people to raid, if you want to PvP with someone, it's always a great way to build up a community and relationships within the game. You'll notice I said trading there. Now this wasn't in the game when you last played. If you were an older player, I wouldn't say it's new, but it's definitely not an old feature. It's something that everyone always wanted. So now it's in the game, how does it work? Let's go over the basics. So you need to be at least level 10 to be able to trade. Each trade costs Stardust. Now you can do one special trade a day, and a special trade is going to be the most expensive trade. So it's going to be something you want, like something you haven't got in your Pokedex. That would count as a special trade. Now your first 10 trades, if you trade Pokemon from 2016, are guaranteed to be lucky. Now what does lucky mean? A lucky Pokemon basically is easier to level up. So when you level up a Pokemon, you use Stardust and you use Candy. Now the Stardust cost to level up a lucky Pokemon is reduced, making it so much easier to level up and ideal if you can get a good Pokemon in the trade and make it lucky. So I'd be careful with your first 10 trades, think it out a little, maybe plan it out. But that's not the only way to get a lucky Pokemon. Whenever you trade with somebody, there is a chance it could happen. It's just the first 10 are guaranteed, and then trading older Pokemon gives you a higher chance in future trades. But that's not all. What about distance? So the distance where your Pokemon were caught, so let's say you're trading with a friend from a different country, because there's a great distance between where those Pokemon are caught, you'll receive more candies when you trade. So it's always a good idea if you're at events, maybe ask around, someone's just been on holiday, a friend maybe, to trade those kinds of Pokemon because they give you extra candy and extra bonuses in a trade. Now, those are some tips for trading. That's not everything. We'll sort of go through stuff as we play. And if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments below. And hopefully myself or another player can help you. Likewise, if you're watching this video thinking, I know more than this guy, I've got plenty more suggestions. Again, drop those in the comments. Hopefully they'll help players and we can use this video as sort of a guide for people coming back into the game. You can identify a lucky Pokemon by it saying lucky under their name, but also when you search through your Pokemon, you'll see it's like a glittery symbol. It's almost similar to, let's see if I've got one actually. Yeah, so it's sort of like a star sun kind of effect around the Pokemon. A shiny looks more like this. Again, I'm just going to show you Cresselia because I've just got that, so don't hate me too much. Next, let's talk a little about battling and PvP. Again, another feature added that everyone always wanted. Maybe it took a little too long for your likes and you didn't end up playing when that came out. But it is out, it is fun. With how raids go, I was worried I wouldn't really enjoy this aspect of the game, but I would say the PvP is probably my favourite now, how it's been handled. And the best way I could describe it is it's a fast-paced tactical game. It's a 3v3 battle. So you both start with a Pokemon, you can switch out. There is a timer, so you can't just keep switching. You can take advantage of that to get type advantage. You use your charge moves, of which now you can have 2. So there is some variety, there's some tactics to it. And you're also given 2 shields per fight, which you can use to block charge attacks. Now, some of that might be confusing, so how do I get 2 charged attacks? If you go onto your Pokemon, you can click New Attack, and that will give you a second charged attack. As simple as that. That's really easy to explain. So the coolest part about this is you can battle ultra and close friends from anywhere. Anyone else, you will have to be in the vicinity of them, so you will have to meet up and battle them. But I think that's kind of a cool aspect to it. The Ultra and Best Friend edition of Battling Anywhere is kind of cool as well. If you know someone quite well, or you've built up I was going to say Pokemon relationship then, but that just sounds weird. But yeah, if you can do that as well, I think it adds something because you can get bonuses from PvP. So this is one of a few ways to gain Sinnoh Stones. Now, Sinnoh Stones are used to evolve Pokemon such as Weavile, Mamoswine, who else have we got? Honchkrow. I will put up a list here so you can see all the Pokemon you need them for. There's some really good evolves. So getting Sinnoh Stones is kind of difficult. That's one way to do it. You also get Stardust from PvP, I should add. Another way to get Sinnoh Stones is a 7-day Pokestop streak. So if you spin a Pokestop every day for 7 days, on the 7th day, you're given a random item. And it could be a Metal Coat, it could be a Sinnoh Stone, it could be a Sunstone. These all evolve different Pokemon. If you want a complete list of what evolves what, I'll link one down below. I could go through it in another video, but I feel like that sort of thing's probably better for a list. And you can just have that on your phone and look at it when you want. We've also got raids and EX raids. Now, a raid is where a group of people gather together to battle a more powerful Pokemon, and afterwards they get a chance of capturing that Pokemon. Now, these can be legendary raids. If you're only getting 1 free pass a day, I would maybe suggest saving them unless there's a Pokemon you really want. Again, I will flash up a graphic of the raid Pokemon at the minute. They do change, so this is only relevant for now, but it's an example of what you could find. So at the minute, we've got stuff like Alolan Marowak, Tyranitar, Alolan Raichu, some really cool new Pokemon, and we've still got older ones like Gengar appearing as well. Now, we normally have 1 or 2 legendaries at a time, or maybe a few. At this time, we've only got Cresselia, so hopefully we see Darkrai next. And if you notice at the top, there is Deoxys. Now, how that works is certain gyms are designated as EX gyms. Now, you can find if they are in the top right corner. When you clicked on the gym, it will say EX raid, nice and simple. And basically, you will get an invite to this EX raid, and you can invite 1 friend. Now, make sure that friend wants to go, because if they decline it, you can't invite them again. So it is kind of, I wish there was a workaround for that, but you just have to be sure. Just make sure you don't accidentally click anything. And the idea is everyone keeps building up invites, and eventually you go into this EX raid. Now, you do have to be good friends with them. It can't just be add someone and then invite them. So there is that to it. Just remember that. In essence, it works the same as a raid. Now, what you would do is you would gather up with some friends. You would all jump in at the same time, put your pass in, choose which Pokemon you want to use, and start the battle. Now, don't worry if your team gets knocked out, because you can just refill. You can put more Pokemon in. As long as you beat that Pokemon in the time given at the top, you're absolutely fine. And you'll have a shot at a shiny version of that Pokemon if the shiny has been released. But also, more importantly, a chance at catching it. So get learning your type advantages and disadvantages, because this is a massive point, not only in raids, but also PvP battles. And they could save your skin. I know there's so many to learn, but I know there's also a poem which you can sort of remember. Otherwise, you could save it on your phone and quickly look before raids. There's so many ways you can get around it. PvP, it's not so easy because you have to act quickly, which is what I love. a lot of it comes down to knowledge and tactics. But as well as going through battles, trades, friends, raids, we've gone through quite a lot, but we're also going to have a look at a few tips. Now, whenever you're doing something, I would always try to combo things. So for example, if you've got a lucky egg, you've got a lot of Pokemon perhaps to evolve or something, maybe a raid that you haven't seen before that would be a Pokedex entry, I would drop the egg, do the raid, catch the Pokemon that you haven't caught before, and then keep all your Pokemon, build them up, and evolve them all at the same time. Now what this does is it will give you double XP. You only get half an hour, so do as much as you can. Maybe build precisely for that moment. So just collect stuff up. There's no rush. You don't have to do stuff as soon as you get it. But also by waiting, you could find better versions. You could find highest CP, better IVs. IVs is another one we should probably go into after this, but I'll give you a few tips and then we'll have a look at that. Another tip for this one's for catching Pokemon. What you can do is, I'll show you on the screen because it might be easier, but hopefully there's a Pokemon nearby now. I'll tell you what, I'll load one of me catching a different Pokemon, but what you can do is you can hold the Pokeball until the circle gets small, and then when it attacks, because it can make animations where you can't catch it, you wait for that to almost run out, then you fling your Pokeball. So the circle will be small, it can't possibly attack again, so you're not going to waste a ball. I think there is a name for that strategy, but from the top of my head I can't remember what it is. But that's a really cool way of catching legendary and raid Pokemon when they're a bit antsy, I would guess would be the word. But they're just a few tips. Like I say, there might be stuff that you do that nobody else does. In the comments, again, I would say if you have any ideas, just drop them in and hopefully we can help people out and sort of build a new comeback of players into the game and maybe new players in general. So IVs, when you capture a Pokemon, you can appraise it, and depending which team you're in, it will say something different. I'd have a look online and learn what your team should say. So for example, if it's a breathtaking Pokemon with Mystic, which I am, you know it's a good Pokemon, and then it will list which stats are breathtaking, so attack, defense, HP, and then it will say it exceeds my calculations depending how strong it is. Once you've got these, you can go online and find out what IV your Pokemon is. Now you kind of want 90% plus for any kind of PvP or raids, ideally. Obviously you can do it without, but that's sort of the best you want to aim for. Obviously 100% is ideal, but that's so hard to find, it's so rare. So if you start aiming for a sort of 90, I think that's a good target. So there's a few things you should know that aren't necessarily gameplay. Now Niantic is heavily involved with the game constantly with updates, news. So if you go onto your character, click the Pokeball in the middle, that will bring up news in the top right corner. If you click onto that, you can see any events going on at the moment. Now there is constant updates, there is always an event on. Most days there's an event on. There'll be like weekly events, there'll be daily community days, there'll be, drawing a blank, but there's always something on. Like we've just got over Adventure Week. At the minute we've got Legendary, we've got the Legendary Dogs coming up, so that's going to be exciting. Like I say, always keep up to date on the news, so you know which Pokemon are spawning, what bonuses you have, what's hatching from eggs, what raids there are. You can find out all this information in the app. It's just knowing where to go and when to find it. I think that's possibly one of my favourite parts about this game, just how well it is supported. You feel like you have a voice almost, and you do feel like they truly care about this game. Like if you just look at how it's been built and how active it is and how many things they put in just for us, you do get the feel that the people behind the game truly do care for it and want it to succeed. There's just so many small parts of this game that I could be forgetting, so I know I've said it a couple of times now, but any questions you have at all, just drop them in the comments below and I will help in any way I can. And I'm sure other players are more than happy to as well. So the weather's really let us down for this first episode, but like I say, I couldn't take my camera out in this. It's just pouring down at the minute. I could barely go out myself. I could barely use my phone. I will mention one more time, I did catch shiny Cresselia, so it was worth going out. But like I say, I could not take my camera out. Next episode, we will be outside. We'll be going about, probably with family, friends, the community. So look forward to that one. And make sure you like, comment and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. But until next time.